find yourself at the grocery store just staring at a $5 head of organic lettuce and thinking, there has to be a better way?
Oh, absolutely. And there is.
Well, looking through the guide you sent over, it seems that better way is growing it yourself for what, a single cent?
That's the one. And it's about more than just the money. It's about unlocking thousands of varieties you'll never see in a store, like those purple tomatillas you mentioned.
And controlling the whole gut biome of your food from the very beginning.
Exactly. When you start from seed, you're not just gardening, you're really managing a biological timeline. Success starts, believe it or not, with a calendar.
I saw that in the notes. Everything is based on the last frost date, which you call week 0. I usually just wait until it feels warm. Is that too late?
For starting seeds indoors, yeah, almost always. You have to work backward.
Backward.
Right, think of it like a countdown. Your slow growers, like onions, they need to be started maybe 12 weeks before that date.
Wow, 12 weeks?
Then you've got your warm crops like peppers at 8 weeks, and the really fast stuff, zinnias and the like, only need about 4.
So if you wait until spring has sprung, you've missed the boat.
You've missed the whole harvest window, pretty much.
Okay, one of the hacks that jumped out at me was the paper towel test. It sounds like a great way to not waste time on old seeds.
It's essential, especially for things like onions or parsnips. Their seeds are really only viable for a year, maybe 2.
So you just, wrap them in a wet towel?
You just tuck about 10 seeds into a damp paper towel, put it in a plastic bag, and wait. If only 2 or 3 sprout after a couple of weeks, you know that packet is a lost cause.
That saves a lot of frustration.
And tray space.
Speaking of trays, let's talk about soil. I think most people, myself included, assume you just go out back with a shovel. But your guide says garden soil is the enemy.
It really is. It's way too heavy for fragile little roots, and it's, full of pathogens that can kill a seedling.
So what's the alternative?
You need a sterile soil mix. And before you plant, use what I call the wrung-out sponge rule.
Okay.
Get the mix wet enough that it holds its shape when you squeeze it, but not so wet that it's actually dripping.
Got it. So once the mix is ready, how deep do the seeds go? I've seen this 2x rule mentioned.
For the most part, yeah. Plant a seed about twice as deep as it is wide, but there's a catch.
Oh?
Some seeds are tiny, like dust.
Yeah.
Lettuce, snapdragons, they actually need light to germinate. So those you just press right onto the surface.
You don't bury them at all.
Not at all. And once they're sown, you're managing the trinity of germination: heat, moisture, and light.
Right, so you put the humidity dome on, maybe a heat map.
Yep. Aim for about 65 to 80 degrees and near total humidity. But the second you see green, that dome has to come off.
Like that.
You'll cook them. They need air circulation immediately.
What about soaking seeds like peas or beans? Is that just a gardening myth?
No, it's a great trick. It's like a biological alarm clock.
Yeah.
You're hydrating the seed coat to tell the embryo it's time to wake up now.
Okay, let's talk about the big one. Leggy plants. We've all had them. Those pale, spindly stems reaching for a window. I always thought a sunny windowsill was the perfect spot.
It's a total trap. A window just doesn't provide the intensity they need.
So what do you do?
You need a real light source, at least 4,000 lumens, and this is the part everyone gets wrong. You have to keep those lights just 2 inches above the leaves.
2 inches? That feels incredibly close.
It is. But if the light's a foot away, the plant spends all its energy stretching up instead of growing strong.
And watering. I'm always scared I'm going to drown them.
Try bottom watering. Let the pots sit in a tray of water for 20 minutes or so. They'll wick it up from the bottom.
Ah, so the stems stay dry.
Which prevents damping off. That's a fungus that pinches the stem at the soil line and the whole plant just collapses. Also, a small fan nearby helps.
A fan. To mimic wind.
Exactly. It tells the plant to build a sturdier trunk.
Okay, so once we see the true leaves, the ones that actually look like the plant, it's time to thin them out. That always feels so cruel.
It's a necessary evil. If you have 3 sprouts in one cell, they'll just starve each other. You have to take a pair of scissors and snip the extras at the soil line.
Snip, don't pull.
Never pull. You'll tear the roots of the seedling you want to keep.
The last hurdle in the guide is hardening off. Can't we just, move them outside once it's warm?
You really can't. Think of it as a 2-week boot camp for plants. They're soft. They have 0 UV protection.
So you ease them into it.
1 hour in the shade on day 1, a little more the next day. You slowly increase their exposure. Then, when you finally plant, bury your tomato stems deep for extra roots.
But not everything likes that, right?
Right. Be super careful with things like cucumbers and squash. Their roots are very sensitive and they hate being disturbed.
It's just amazing how much science goes into that 1 cent head of lettuce.
Hmm.
As we wrap up this exploration, I'm thinking what Rose Ahern said.
Ah.
A garden is a grand teacher of entire trust.
That's a good one.
As you start your trays this season, here's a thought to mull over. In a world of complex ingredient labels, how does it change your perspective to realize that real food doesn't have ingredients? It is the ingredient.